Alright, you lovely bunch. We're going to get on to part 14 now. Thankfully, we didn't finish on 13. We might get all this done. It might be a slightly longer one, or I might split it into the last part 15, but we'll see, because I don't know yet. Alright, well, but the more I talk, the less time we get, so let's do it. So this is where we've got now, and we're going to start adding some fog. So, all we need to do a little bit of fog. If you press Shift A, now that we've put the 3D cursor back in the middle, and add a cube, and just press S and scale that bad boy right up. If we go into the camera, we want to scale it so that the camera is also inside, like this. And then I'm just going to move it up, and I'm just going to scale it down, because it just needs to cover. I don't want to see the top or the bottom of this cube. So there, looks about nice. And call it in your outliner Bow. I think it's F. Is it F2 that does that? Yeah, you can just press F2, give it a name, Bow. And a very useful thing is, yes, if you go click on this one, which is your object properties, under visibility down here. Sorry, no, not visibility. Viewport display. You've got this display as textured, so we can't see through it on the outside. Don't know why I mean isometric there. But if we change this to bones, we can see it, but we can see through it, and that's what we want. And if we change this now to that, it's going to look quite funny, because we don't want this to have a material. We're going to make this a fog. So if you click on the cube, the fog, and then click New, instead of going with the principal BSDF, we press Shift S, shader to switch, and we're going to switch to a volume scatter. Now the volume scatter right now has gone pitch black. It doesn't look right at all. There's no fog there. If we look outside, it's just an enormous black box in a black world. Black, because this is going, it's got volume and it's going into the surface when we've got an input for volume. So control right click and put it into volume. Now this whole thing is full, which is why it's gone black. The density of 1 is too high. I would expect we'll take it down. So what I normally do is try 0.1, which rarely works. But that does look cool. Hey, I like that. Let's leave that at 0.1 for now. But what we've got is a blanket volumetric. It's just this whole cube is full of fog. We don't want it to look like that. We'd like a bit of variation. So this volume scatter has a color input. We can give it something. So if we Shift A, texture, car noise texture, and just, I'll tell you what we'll do, add a color ramp as well. You know where that is. Shift A, converter color ramp, and then drop that in there, and let's just control shift click this so that we can see what the noise filter is doing. I might have to come out. Okay, so I'm just outside the whole thing. That's our cube. So because it's fog, I want it to be slightly distorted. It's a bit more wavy, a bit more fluid-like. I'm going to bring the detail up. I like it a bit bitty. I think that's too much black, but we'll see. So if we take that, drop it straight into color, and then we control right click that, we've just got volume again. You can see that effect. We can see through those areas. So if we go into the camera now, it also does it inside, but we might need to take off. So by adding more black, you can see if I take the black right out, it's just a blanket. But if I bring it right up, and if you bring them closer together, so you think that's enough fog, but I can't see it enough, I want to just give it more white. You see, and then it will do that. I'm actually gonna, I think that looks cool. I think that looks super cool. And actually, it didn't cause havoc with the lights. Maybe a bit more fog. That's too much. Take the white down. What I'd like is less fog on this, so I'm going to change this to 4D so that we get that W. And I'm going to move it, see if I can get a darker patch like there. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Check that out. That's nice. That's nice. Okay. So now we're set up with the scene. I think the only thing left to do is on our point lights, they're too harsh. So 0.1, I think we've already changed that to 1 meter. The other points, I'm going to put that at 0.5. Okay. Oh no, because that's the moon. That needs to have quite a harsh shadow. Okay, 0.1. Sweet. Right, so I think we can finish with this episode, actually. To add those decorations to the door, very simple. Shift right click, I need my thing on. Shift add mesh plane, RX90 to rotate it on the 90. Scale it down a fair bit. Bring it forward on the Y, GY. And just scale it on the X, like this. Apply scale, of course. Control A, scale. Add a loop cut in the middle. Take this point, GX, move it on the X-axis. Add, in the modifiers, add a solidify modifier. Give it a bit of depth. Like that. That'll do. And then Control A over that to apply it. And then add a bevel. And take it all the way down to 0 and then just slowly increase. Add a bit of bevel. Alright. And we are going to place that in the doorway. Oh, blimey. Okay, so I'm just going to move it. I'm just going to hide this tree. H, G, Y. I just want to see it go into the door. There it is. There. And I'm going to bring it over on the X to start there. And I think, let me just go into viewport. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Okay. And then let's just give a very quick material. Click new. Give it a bit of orange, like a bronze, darker, but more vibrant. There. Take the roughness down. And then metallic. Metallic straight up. That'll do. And duplicate that. Alt D. Bring it down on the Z. And then rotate it on the Y by 180. And just move that over there. And then just duplicate this one straight down. Put that there. I believe the subdiv is still off, so let's turn it on, shall we? Here. Alt H to reveal our hidden tree, and let's just have a look in the render window. Without this, I think that looks nice. Okay. Let me just check that I've just clicked on the building. I just want to look at the glass. Roughness is on 0. Specular is on 100. Let's bring this window darker in colour. Because I do actually quite like it a bit dark now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's it. The scene is set up. So let's head over to render. So again, if we look, we're just going to go into render view. And I want to see what this bit looks like. Where there is smoke, there is noise. So I'm going to just check how this looks when it renders through a lot of samples. So as I can see it going up with the denoise on, I'm perfectly happy with that, and it's only done. So I think we can get away for the render samples. I reckon let's go with, see what happens with 300 and then denoise. Bearing in mind, if you're in the camera and you Control B and select a render window, that is what the render will be. It won't render outside this. So if you just want to remove what's in the background, make sure you've got the whole camera selected. Okay, head over to thingy mode and press F12, or in my case, press render image. So that's what I ended up with. I'm perfectly happy with the noise level with that. What I would like to do is actually have a bit more light on our central focus here. So I am going to shift right click, put the 3D cursor right on the cube, shift A, light point. And if we just go into viewport mode, I'm going to head into the camera and I'm going to go above the camera here so that I've got more control. 7.5. Where's my camera? Right. So I would like this to be a bit more of a white light. It's too low, so I'm going to put it just above, and a bit more forwards. And then I'm going to crank that up a bit to 1000 watts. Nope. 500. 200. Let me bring it forward a bit. Is that still visible? Okay, the shadows aren't so visible, so I think that works. I think that works. Control B, let's get that render window back. But because there's volumetrics, the light is glowing, so it's clear there's something randomly here. So I'm just going to take that off camera, maybe just brighten it 300. Bit more forward, maybe. Yeah. I'm just messing around here. A bit more shadow. I think that's visible. That's nice. Okay, so I'm going to render that out and pause it until it comes out. All right, so F12 or render image. Bosh, done. The whole scene used only 564 megabytes, and it took a minute and a half. It might take longer on yours. That's obviously depends on your hardware, but I'm pretty happy with that. Now, to me, this is not a finished image. I would then take this into Photoshop and then work me Photoshop magic in there, like, to bring out the contrast, put up the shadows, add color corrections, things like this, some grading stuff. But once you've got that image, save as, and then pick any of your file formats that you like. Save as image. That simple. What you can do in compositing is you can actually edit the image before so you've rendered it is the beginning of the output, and then you start adding flares and things like this, lens flares, diffuse glows, add mist passes. But that's a bit far out of the scope. But I believe we're done. It was 15 parts, wasn't it? Yeah, 15 parts, only a couple extra, but we got way more advanced. I'm happy with that, how that turned out. I really hope it all made a whole bunch of sense and was clear enough for you. Clear enough for you. And then, yeah, I might do another one if this one's going well as well, and get even more advanced with stuff. But for now, that should take you up to a pretty good level to really get cracking with your own stuff now. So I very much hope that was helpful. It's been tons of fun, and I'll probably see you in the next one. Look how warm it is. I'm sweating like a beast there. I'll see you in the next one. Farewell.